and welcome to the Chatterbox Letters podcast. Today's topic is It's All About Your Chatter Letter. Welcome to my Livestream broadcasting exclusive. Was it more obscene to say it, to write it, or to set it in a type? Under breath, it could be taken by a breeze or a crowd by your chatter letter. It could be misheard or ignored. One thing the page, your chatter letter is the real thing. It has been caught and pinned to the board. Your chatter letter spread in a particular way so that anyone who saw it would know what it is. You mustn't give up. My voice took on an urgency that could be understood, no matter how hard it may seem sometimes. You mustn't give it up. Your chatter letter is too good for you to give up. Oh, how good it is, without a doubt, in my mind. Do you know how easy it is for me to stand on the other side of the booth with your potential chatter letter in my hand, ready to read it on my podcast? It's easy to say, I got this. This one chatter letter makes all the difference in the world to me. I'm going to start from the beginning. All I ask is that you keep your chatter letter coming. I silently pray for your chatter letter to arrive because it would make me happy to see it. As I said before, you have an overinflated sense of importance in your life to send me your chatter letter. All right. Gossip isn't a scandal, and it's not merely miraculous. It's the chatter letter is about the human race by lovers of the game. Even children 10 to 20 want to be understood when it comes to your chatter letter. Their whole ambition is not to feel or misinterpret it so that they can live austerely in some stone tower of the adolescence with their privacies unviolated. When I read their chatter letter, to give it to me, for the wonderful thing about saints is that they were human to know that their chatter letter is very important. Never losing their tempers, they are hungry. Also, they are egotistical, but never testy or impatient in their turns. Never making a mistake, never regretting the fact that their chatter letter needs to be sent to me ASAP. Praise is warming and very desirable, and it is living on the truth of the matter with your chatter letter, especially for the children who are never forced to live very rapidly in order to take your chatter letter and place it in the mailbox to be picked up and sent to my podcast. Children are often given only a few years in which to learn hundreds of thousands of things about them when it comes to your chatter letter. An open letter is all I can chat about. Love comes to those who still hope after being excited about writing your chatter letter and sending it to me with love totally. There is no betrayal here. Those who love their chance to send me their chatter letter can love doing it in a heartbeat. Your kind heart won me over the very first time you sent me your chatter letter. I never met a person who that kind of loyalty to my podcast. There are no differences in you and me. But when you love is true about your chatter letter, nothing else matters in life but God and his son Jesus. You are the key and I am locked. You can unlock my reason for having your chatter letter and with affection and love. I just want you to know that there is not a single moment in our lives when we don't miss, I'll say miss, but thinking of you with your chatter letter makes all the difference between night and day. Yes, it's true. Your chatter letter is on the way to me. All the desires and needs are accomplished. The story was not unusual, but also true. I remember the amount when I first read my own chatter letter to my podcast. I survived reading it to the public. The eagle never ceased to scream, but the parrots will now begin to chatter for us as we think about writing those chatter letters for the Chatterbox Letters podcast. To read a newspaper is to read something that is worthwhile. The first discipline is to educate yourself, feeding your minds with your chatter letter. The intention at this book of knowledge is perfectly simple. Whenever you I always have problems pronouncing that word, prediction, maybe you're free. But the law of knowledge to the star you are with your chatter letter. to go on your own way after you sent your chatter letter in with your own way for rejoicing. There is a single main definition of an object is a magical ritual. The supreme and complete ritual of your chatter letter is therefore the invocation of the angel in the sky. Mysticism and the union of God. It's only necessary not to destroy in oneself the roots of your motives, which determines your course in order to enjoy the omnipotence and the immunity of your chatter letter and God Almighty. Should you be absent in willpower, the most complete collection of virtues and talents, where your chatter letter is concerned, you're sending in a huge priority. That's all for today. All right. If you have a chatter letter that you would like to send to me, I would surely appreciate it. Please get ready and send your chatter letter to me. You can write whatever you want to write about in your chatter letter. It doesn't make a difference what you write, whatever you want to write about. But the only thing I ask is to please keep it clean, clear, and discreet. Please write your chatter letters and send it to me. You can send your letter to the Chatterbox Letters Podcast at gmail.com. And that's via email. Your second option is by regular mail. You can send your chatter letter to the Chatterbox Letters Podcast, Post Office Box 5556, Lakeland, Florida 33807-5556. Your third option is in person. You could bring me your letter by hand. If you live in the surrounding areas or cities in the state of Florida, Plant City, Dover, Brandon, Valrico, Tampa, Zephyrhills, Sonoma, Riverview, Lakeland, Lakeland Heights, Bradley, Mulberry, Bartow, Turkey Creek, Edgewood, and Zephyrhills, Cleveland Heights. If you live in one of the listed cities that I gave you, I would appreciate your letter by hand. I'm wrapping this up, my live stream. I thank everyone out there who tuned in to my live stream. I would like to say God bless and thank you so much for your support for my podcast. Thank you so much.